I think that Bungie decided to give Titans more love when it comes to buffing exotics in this season for some reason. They changed how this exotic worked, and it actually makes using a stasis subclass even better than it was back in 2020. If you guys remember that, that was PTSD. The exotic armor piece I am talking about is called the Icefall Mantle. I think this exotic got multiple reworks, but this one may stay here forever. Here's what it does. If you have a stasis super equipped, rapid stasis final blows grant frost armor. You heal a small amount whenever you gain frost armor, replaces your class ability with a burst of stasis energy that freezes nearby combatants, slows nearby opponents, and grants you increased frost armor. If you guys do not know what frost armor, it's basically like woven mail as it is for on strand, and the higher stacks of frost armor you have, the higher of amount of damage reduction you're going to be getting. So the default amount of stacks you could be able to hold is ×5, but we are going to use this fragment right here called Whisper of Rhyme that will increase the amount of stacks of frost armor we can hold. So instead of holding 5 stacks, we are now going to be holding 8 stacks. And it would also increase the duration for frost armor as well. And we are going to be getting a 36% damage reduction if we have ×8 frost armor. This is much less than woven mail on strand, but at least stasis has a damage reduction. So you remember how I told you that it would replace your rally barricade into a newer version for this exotic? So let's just say that if you were to run this class ability called Rally Barricade, you would think that the base cooldown would also benefit for that exotic armor piece, but apparently not. It's actually going to override this Rally Barricade into the Towering Barricade. So it's now going to be 1 minute and 10 seconds, but we can also use this stat called Resilience that would 1, reduce our class ability, and 2, would give us a 30% damage reduction if we have tier 10 Resilience. And I would recommend using tier 10 Resilience, because if you are doing this in PvE, in most cases you are, this would just buff up the damage reduction even further with frost armor as well. For the stasis grenades, you can choose any you like, but for me, I am using an exotic sniper rifle that would benefit for freezing targets, so I chose to put cold snap grenades that would instantly freeze targets whenever they get hit by it. But if you want to spawn in more stasis crystals, because this is a stasis build, you could also go for glacier grenade. Either or, it doesn't really matter what you're using, but in my personal opinion, I will go for cold snap grenade. And for the aspects, for this one, you can change it if you like. I would like to go for diamond lance because this got a buff, and so whenever you shatter or defeat a target with your stasis abilities or weapons, it would create a stasis lance. You can either throw it or slam it onto the ground, and also when shattering a target, you could also stun unstoppable champions as well, which is pretty cool. And this build is mostly freezing, shattering, and slowing, so this is going to be very good for overloads and unstops. And this other aspect called tectonic harvest will 1, benefit us from producing tons of melee energy, and also benefiting us when using these certain seasonal artifacts that would grant us more class ability energy, because this build is primarily producing as much class ability as possible, so we can keep having a 100% uptime when getting the max amount of frost armor for this build. So whenever you shatter a stasis crystal or a frozen target, it would create a stasis shard. These shards will grant melee energy whenever you pick it up by either you or your allies. While tectonic harvest is equipped, picking up stasis shards grants stacks of frost armor. So this is another way for generating more frost armor. And the seasonal artifacts I am talking about when it comes to producing more class ability energy when collecting stasis shards is this one called Served Cold. Picking up a stasis shard grants you class ability energy. And with each stasis shard you collect, you're going to be getting 10% increase in class ability energy. And the other artifacts here are mainly towards stasis, either producing more frost armor, slowing targets while they're frozen, which is this one, or you could actually summon slow shards out of stasis crystals whenever you destroy it, called Hailstorm. But yeah, but the main artifact, just go for this one if you want to produce more class ability energy. For the other fragments I chose to go for is Whisper of Conduction, because it would 1, increase our resilience and our intellect, and it would also just track you whenever you're near a stasis shard, so you don't really have to physically run to it. You can just stand near it and it would come to you, because I'm lazy. What can I say? The next one will enhance our shatter damage and burst of stasis crystals or shattering a frozen target, and this one is Whisper of Fissures. And again, in this build we're going to be doing all of that, so might as well put this. The next one is Whisper of Refraction. This is another way to produce more class ability energy, but we would have to defeat slowed or frozen targets. The next one I chose to put is Whisper of Shards, just to give us increased grenade energy, because we are already going to be spawning in tons of stasis crystals with our abilities and with our weapon we are using for the build. So whenever whenever we shatter a stasis crystal, it will temporarily boost our grenade recharge rate. Shattering additional stasis crystals increases the duration of this benefit. I personally enjoy using this fragment because I love spamming my grenades. So for the weapons, I chose to go for this strand hand cannon that came out this season. And if you guys are lucky, just as I am, here are the perks that you should be running. On the third column, go for Rhyme Stealer for another way to produce even more frost armor, but you would have to destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target with this weapon. So I have it enhanced, so instead of getting 1 frost armor, we're actually getting ×2 frost armor per stasis crystal or frozen target defeated. This also takes 2 shots to destroy 1 stasis crystal for this hand cannon. Yes, there is a fragment that will increase the damage for your stasis crystals, which is called Whisper of Rending, but I didn't really want to put it because we are using the Icebreaker for the build. We'll get onto that later. And on your fourth column, go for Headstone for, again, more stasis crystals. Precision Final Blow spawns a stasis crystal at the target's location, and it would also give you +5 stability if you have it enhanced. You can actually overflow the magazine with this hand cannon, and I do recommend going for increased mag if you are into that fetish of having more ammo in the mag. And the origin trait is called the Dark Ether Reaper. Final blows with this weapon periodically spawn a Dark Ether charge. Charges can be detonated early with this weapon, or you can just run into it. Either or would work. So originally this was spawned in 1 Ether Orb, but in this season we have a artifact that would also spawn 2 instead of 1 Ether Balls. So let's just say if you're one of those people that do not have the Icebreaker, well, don't worry. You can actually replace this hand cannon with other exotics if you do have it, such as Conditional Finality, Aegir's Scepter, Wicked Implement, or Virgil's Curve. But in my preference, I would recommend going for either Aegir's Scepter or Virgil's Curve. Virgil's Curve is just producing even more stasis crystals, or you can go for Aegir's Scepter to freeze tons of targets around you, and you would also consume your super to increase your slow and freezing effects and damage as well. But for me, I'm just going for Icebreaker because I have it. All right, here's what the Icebreaker does. If you don't know what it does, it just basically gives you infinite ammo, but at the cost of either getting final blows with other weapons, and if you were to defeat a high powerful combatant, it would grant you multiple rounds. Whenever you defeat a target with this weapon, it would cause them to explode. It was kind of like a Firefly explosion, that perk on that weapon, but I think it's a bit bigger. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments about that one. And also, precision final blows or shattering a frozen target instead triggers an ignition. So our goal is to freeze them and then shoot them with the Icebreaker and they go boom. Basically that, pretty much it. You don't really need the catalyst, but it does help with the ammo economy. Whenever landing a hit on a slowed or frozen target, it would have a chance to return a round to the magazine. So let's just say you're running an exotic on your kinetic weapon. For your energy weapon, I would go for this pulse rifle. That also ties to the seasonal stuff. So this one has the Ether origin trait. And here are the perks that I do recommend you should be going for. Jolting Feedback. It's like Volt Shot, but you just deal more damage to proc it. And Closing Time. This is what I got, but I think there's other perks out there that are better, but this is what I got so far. And again, you can either go for Synergy to drop an Ionic Trace, or you can go for like increasing your magazine. I don't think this one has it. For the power weapon, I would recommend going for this grenade launcher called the Chill Inhibitor. And there's a lot of controversy for this grenade launcher at the time that I'm recording about perk weighting. But yeah, this is what I got so far. I've been farming this nonstop, but on the third column, you can go for Envious Arsenal. I do have it on another variation for this weapon right here. Dealing damage with other weapons before readying this one refills it from reserves. Or you can go for Cascade Point because we are using the Icebreaker. So final blows or dealing sustained precision hits with another weapon increases this weapon's fire rate for a short duration. So you would have to get 3 precision hits on the Icebreaker to proc Cascade Point or just get a final blow. And on the fourth column, go for Bait and Switch. This will give you, I believe, a 30% damage increase, but you would have to deal damage with your other equipped weapons within a short time to give this a damage boost. The origin trait's kind of meh, but here's what it does. It's called Braid Legacy. Whenever you damage with this weapon, it would generate a small amount of ability energy for the one closest to a full charge. Yeah, that's basically it. And the weapon mod, you can just go for backup mag for more ammo in the mag. And for the second stat, I would recommend going for Discipline to reduce your grenade cooldown if you enjoy spamming your grenades, or you can go for Recovery, but our exotic will also give us healing. But we also have a mod right here called Recuperation that whenever we pick up an Orb of Power, it will just give us healing. All right, Destiny 2 fanatic gamers, here's what I was using for the armor mods for the build. The main one you're going to want to put is Utility Kickstart on the Titan mark, because whenever we activate our class ability, if we have armor charges, it will just consume that to give us even more class ability energy energy. And as we are activating it, we can actually collect more orbs around us for the next time we were to activate our class ability again. And whenever we get a kill after activating our class ability, it will drop an orb of power. And we are producing tons of stasis shards. So by having elemental charge, whenever we collect stasis shards, we would have a chance to give us an armor charge. And you guys are seeing that I'm using solar targeting and solar dexterity. I only put this for the Icebreaker because it would, one, feel extremely slow when swapping to it, and also ADSing. So that's why I just put those two. You can change it if you want. I will show you what I would put if you don't have the Icebreaker at the end of the armor build showcase. And for the other mods for the helmet, I just put solar siphon and harmonic siphon because of our stasis hand cannon and our solar Icebreaker. All right, gamers, if you're one of the ones that were looking very closely, I did change this mod here. It was heavy-handed before, but I noticed that our melee sucks ass on stasis for Titan, so I just put bolstering detonation. Grants class ability energy whenever we activate a grenade, and same thing with like focusing strike. Whenever we deal damage with our melee attack, it would reduce our class ability. So if you don't have the Icebreaker, you could change these two right here. On the helmet, you can go for Dynamo, reduces your super cooldown whenever you activate your class ability, because we are going to be getting close and personal, because if we were to activate our class ability near targets, we would freeze them, and that's our goal for this build, is just to freeze them. And this would also proc it as well. And the next one, I just put another one for focusing strike, because we are getting tons of melee energy for the stasis shards, so I just put focusing strike. But in the dim loadout, which will be in the description, it would be the Icebreaker armor mods that you saw earlier. All right, let's head to the drip. As what you see here, this was fully inspired by being a behemoth, so might as well just become a bear, you know? So here are the ornaments and shaders I was using, so go for it. It'll be right here if you like. It kind of sucks that the exotic armor for the Icefall Mantle does not have an ornament. I inspected it. It didn't show any. If it is in the store, let me know in the comments, and I may buy it. Not with silver. I'm a bright dust fanatic, but I don't think this will ever appear as bright dust, but you never know. All right, let me just show you a visual demonstration for the Icefall Mantle. So again, if we get a rapid kill, it would give us frost armor times 1, is what you're seeing on the left side of the screen. And then for the hand cannon, if we destroy this, it would give us times 2 and all that stuff. So now we have 5. And it would also drop shards and also the diamond lance. So we use the diamond lance to toss it. They freeze and die, which will give us more frost armor, which is pretty nice. And then I'm going to go close and personal. And then I can just destroy this to drop a shard and also the diamond lance, and just rinse and repeat. Freeze, diamond lance, and then once you have your class ability back, pop it, and then basically 100% uptime for frost armor. And then as he's frozen, you can go slide, pop this thing, and then Icebreaker, man, boom. Or just toss your grenade, another frozen, boom, and then pick up this, toss this, frozen, boom. And then I have my class ability. He flew away, but you get the point. It's basically just like infinite freezing / ignitions for the Icebreaker. And then I also noticed that if a target is frozen and you get a precision hit with the Icebreaker, it increases the damage, is what you're seeing there. So yeah, if you do want to increase your damage for the Icebreaker, be sure to freeze them and also get that precision hit. So your main goal is to pop your class first, and then once he's frozen, kill him with either your weapons or Icebreaker. He will drop an orb of power, a diamond lance, and also a stasis shard just from that one enemy, which is pretty nice. So pop it, he's frozen, kill him. There's a diamond lance, a shard, and an orb. If you enjoyed this build video, feel free to hit that like button and also subscribe. And I got a question for you. What other build or exotic weapon or armor piece you would like to see next in the near future? Let me know in the comments, and whoever has the most amount of likes, I would make that into a video that's coming in the near future. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, evening, or afternoon. Take care and peace. Join the Discord and also follow me on Twitch and Kick if you need help. It will be in the link in the description if you need help in anything in Destiny 2 whatsoever. I go live Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 a.m. PST. I'll see you guys there. I don't bite.